Hello and welcome to today's session on advanced payment purchase orders in Onfinity. Today we will explore how advanced payment terms are integrated into the procurement process, especially when dealing with high-value or policy-driven vendor requirements. Here is a quick overview of agenda that we will be covering in today's session. We will walk through the concept of advanced payment term in purchase order, examine a real-world use case, and understand the system setup and flow that support this process in Onfinity. Next, we have the objective. The objective of this session is to enable you to understand the advanced payment term purchase order and its associated term in the context of business processes. It also enables you to test the advanced payment purchase order in the context of business requirements. Prerequisite before we dive into the process, let's make sure the essentials are in place. You will need access to the Onfinity platform with a valid user ID and password. Onfinity basic setup and master data setup configurations must be completed and available. Now let's begin with the advanced payment term payment purchase order use case. This will help you to better understand how this process will work in real life. In this scenario, Sonic Ventures plans to procure 10 Samsung Galaxy S22 smartphones from Tech Innovations for senior staff. Due to vendor policy and high-value items, Tech Innovations require 100% payment before processing the order. The procurement team creates a purchase order detailing the product specifications, quantity, pricing, and payment terms. Once the purchase order proceeds, the finance team initiates and completes the advanced payment to Tech Innovations. Only after the payment is confirmed, the vendor ships the smartphone to the Sonic Ventures. Upon receiving the smartphone, Sonic Ventures creates a good receipt note to acknowledge the receipt of the smartphones. This GRN references the original purchase order. Finally, the finance team processes the AP invoice to ensure that the invoice is matched against the PO and GRN, evaluating quantity and price accuracy. Next, we have the advanced payment purchase order process flowchart, a visual representation of the overall process. It begins with the creation of the purchase order, followed by the advance payment, then proceeds to the goods receipt note, GRN, and finally to AP invoice processing. This structured flow ensures that financial commitments are met on time while maintaining full control over the delivery process and supporting documentation. Let's know your basic master involved in the process. To execute this process smoothly, certain master data must be available. Lastly, before we begin the walkthrough, let's take a moment to know the basic masters involved in this process. These records play a crucial role in ensuring the efficient execution of the advance payment purchase order flow. To record advance payment purchase order, there are some basic masters which must be available in the system: a vendor, product or charge, attribute, set instance, unit of measure, currency, price list, payment term, payment method, and product warehouse. These masters form the basic conceptual foundation required to ensure a smooth and accurate execution of the process. Now that we've reviewed the advance payment purchase order process flow and the key masters involved, you're equipped with the foundational knowledge needed. Let's now move into the Onfinity system and walk through the step-by-step execution to see how it works in practice. Let's begin by opening the Onfinity URL. Enter your user ID and password, then click Login to access the system. Once logged in, you'll land on the Onfinity homepage, where you'll see a series of mosaics displaying real-time data. These mosaics provide useful insights and can be used for quick analysis. Keep in mind, the mosaics you see may vary depending on the modules installed in your system. Additionally, users have the flexibility to customize this view. Mosaics can be added, removed, or rearranged according to your preferences. Simply click on the mosaic selection option and adjust the layout as needed. Ultimately, it's up to the user to decide how to organize and utilize these mosaics for their daily operations. To initiate the process, we'll begin by creating a purchase order with an advance payment term. First, open the purchase order screen. You can either use the menu search utility and type purchase, or navigate through the menu path by going to Procurement Management. Under Procurement Management, select the Purchase Order module, and then Purchase Order clicking on this will open the Purchase Order screen, where we can proceed with creating our order. Once the screen loads, you'll land on the Purchase Order landing page. As discussed earlier, this page includes various mosaics that provide quick access to key functions. You can use the advanced search options, document status, warehouse, and vendor to filter and find specific records efficiently. You can directly click on the label hyperlinks to open the documents filtered through the selected criteria. Among the available KPIs, one highlights the open purchase orders, showing all orders that are pending for goods receipt note, GRN, processing. From here, you'll notice two specific mosaics, due orders and expected orders. Both allow you to initiate GRN creation directly from the mosaic. Due orders show purchase orders where the promised delivery date has already passed, indicating that goods were expected but not yet received. Expected orders reflect the purchase orders with upcoming delivery dates, helping you plan for future receipts. These mosaics simplify tracking and managing incoming goods efficiently. Here, we have the monthly purchase order trend chart, which provides a visual representation of purchasing activity over time, segmented by month. Next, the top 10 purchase orders by value chart highlights the vendors with whom the highest spending has occurred, giving insight into major procurement sources. Additionally, the top category by spend, purchase, showcases the product categories that contribute most to overall purchase value. In our case, the primary categories include IT hardware, desktop, and its assembly components, related products, indicating a significant focus on technology procurement. Now, to initiate the process, we can simply click on New Record from the mosaic. This action will open the purchase order screen in single record view, where we begin by selecting the organization under which the purchase order will be created. Next, we need to select the target document type as purchase order. We have already discussed the other available document types, such as release order, which is typically used when creating an order from a blanket purchase order. If there's any reference document related to this order, it can be entered in the order reference field for tracking and documentation purposes. Next, we need to enter the order date, which indicates when this transaction is being created, and the promise date, representing when we expect the product to be delivered by the vendor to our warehouse. For example, let's enter 4th July, 2025 as the promise date. Now, we will select the vendor from whom we are procuring the product. Based on the configurations maintained in the vendor master, the invoice to business partner, vendor location, invoice to location, vendor contact, invoice contact will auto-populate. We can also define the priority of this purchase order if needed. Additionally, the representative field can be used to specify the person responsible for creating or managing this record. Then, the Line tab is used to add the products or charges related to the purchase order. You can click on Lines tab button to navigate on tab, where you can choose the relevant items, define the quantity, unit price, and applicable taxes. Next, we have the Payment Schedule tab. We will go through this tab once we complete our record, and we will be able to see all details on it. It's important to note that this tab does not allow you to define payment terms manually. Instead, it gets automatically updated once the payment term is selected as Advance in the header. We've already covered the expected landed cost earlier. This is used when we want to add the anticipated costs for accurate cost estimation during procurement. Lastly, the order tax will automatically populate once the record is completed, based on the tax details applied to each line item. Now, let's proceed with selecting the warehouse where the goods will be received. In this case, we'll choose the Sonic Ventures warehouse. Next, we'll select the appropriate price list for the transaction. Since this purchase order needs to be processed with an advance payment, We will select the payment term as 100% advance. Let's quickly take a look at the configuration required for setting up a payment term for advance payments. We'll zoom into the payment term record, click on the payment term name hyperlink to open the record in single record view. Here, the name of the payment term is specified as 100% advance. The only required setting to mark this as an advance payment term is to mark the advance check button as true. Once enabled, this payment term can be used as an advance. This is the basic setup you need for an advance payment term. If a schedule is defined for partial or structured advance payments, that would be configured in the Schedule tab. To explore this in more detail, you can refer to the dedicated session on payment terms available separately. Now, let's get back to the purchase order screen. As we've selected the 100% advance payment term, we're ready to proceed with the next steps in our order creation process. After verifying the configuration, we'll save the record. The advance payment term signifies that the goods can only be received once the corresponding payment has been processed in the system. Next, we can proceed to add the order lines directly from the composite view. Click on Add New in the composite view. Select the product, in our case, Samsung S22. If the product is attribute controlled, ensure that the attribute set instance is selected. You may either create a new instance or choose an existing one, especially if the same product attribute set instance has been received previously. Here, we'll proceed with an existing instance. Click OK, and the attribute set instance will be added to the line. Now enter the quantity. For this example, we'll input 10. The price will be automatically fetched from the defined price list and inserted into the line. Once the line is added, save the record. If there are any changes in the price based on agreements with the vendor, you can manually adjust the price at this stage. Otherwise, proceed with the existing price. For now, we'll go ahead with the default tax that is applied based on the tax category set on the product. Next, navigate to the Order Tax tab. This section gets automatically updated with the selected tax information from the line. To review the applied tax in more detail, click on the tax hyperlink to open the record in single record view. If you're looking to understand how tax defaults are configured in the system, refer to the dedicated session on tax management. However, you also have the flexibility to modify the tax at the line level as per your requirements. Here, you can verify the tax amount that has been applied. If your product prices are tax inclusive, the Include Tax checkbox will automatically be marked as true. Now, let's navigate back to the header and complete the purchase order. Click on the Complete Document Action button. A confirmation prompt will appear. Click OK to confirm and complete the record. Once the purchase order is completed, you can verify the payment schedule by clicking on the Payment Schedule tab. Now, by clicking on the Due Date hyperlink, the record will open in single record view, where you can review all related payment details, including the due date for this specific order. Since the due date is already reached as we created the order for the current date, we now need to create the advance payment against this purchase order. Only after completing this payment, the system will allow us to proceed with the Goods Receipt Note, GRN, and AP invoice. Without the payment, the system will restrict further actions on GRN and AP invoice and prompt for payment completion first. Now, to proceed, we need to create an advance payment. You can do this by either searching AP payment in the menu search utility, or by navigating through the menu path Go to Financial Management, then under that, go to Bank and Cash Management module. Here you will find the AP Payment screen. Click on AP Payment to open the relevant screen. On the AP Payment screen, you will also see several mosaics, which help in analyzing your existing payment records and their statuses. Here, you also have the option to create a new record using the New Record mosaic available on the AP Payment screen. For a deeper understanding of the AP Payment module, including its purpose and how it's used for recording payments against purchase orders, You can refer to the dedicated session on AP payment. Now, let's proceed. Click on the New Record mosaic to begin adding a new payment entry into the system. Start by selecting the organization and the document type next. Choose the bank account from which the payment will be made to the vendor. For now, let's assume this is the selected bank account. Then, specify the transaction date, which is the date on which the payment is being processed. Next, select the vendor against whom the payment is being made. Once the vendor is selected, the vendor location and payment method fields will auto-populate based on the master data. You can also enter a transaction reference number if required. Since we are working with an advance payment term, we will be selecting the purchase order instead of the invoice. Typically, payments are created based on invoices, but in the case of advance payment orders, we must proceed with the order itself, as the system will not allow the creation of GRNs or AP invoices without a valid payment reference. So, select the order from the Order Info tab and confirm by clicking OK. Once the order is selected, proceed to select the payment schedule. If multiple schedules are defined, choose the appropriate one. The payment amount will be auto-populated accordingly. After that, save the header, and then complete the record by clicking on the Complete Document action in the header panel and confirm by clicking OK. Once the payment is completed, you're now ready to proceed with creating the Goods Receipt Note (GRN). After processing the payment, the vendor will dispatch the goods. Once you receive the items, navigate to the GRN screen to acknowledge the receipt. To open the Goods Receipt Note (GRN) screen, you can simply search for it using the menu search utility, or navigate manually by going to the Material Management module. Under Order Storage Operations, you will find the Goods Receipt Notice screen. Click on it to proceed. You'll land on the GRN landing page, where you can make use of the advanced search functionality to filter records by document status, warehouse, vendor, and document type as needed. Additionally, you can utilize the pending GRN and expected GRN mosaics, which allow you to directly create GRNs with minimal manual effort, streamlining the process and ensuring accuracy. You can also analyze GRN records using the available charts on this screen, which offer a visual breakdown of GRN activity. Now, to manually create a new record, simply click on the New Record mosaic. Next, select the appropriate document type. In this case, we are creating the GRN directly and not using the confirmation process. If you'd like to explore the GRN confirmation workflow in detail, we recommend referring to the dedicated PO with GRN confirmation process training session for a comprehensive walkthrough. So for now, let's assume that you've received the items on 3rd July. Begin by selecting the warehouse where the goods will be received and then enter the vendor. Based on the vendor selected, the related details such as vendor location and contact will be auto-populated. The same representative used while creating the purchase order will be reflected here based on the user logged in. Next, choose the locator within the warehouse where the goods are being received. Once done, save the header. After saving, click on Create Lines From, which will allow you to select the purchase order against which the GRN is being processed. Click on the Orders option to view and select from the list of available open purchase orders. From here, choose the relevant order line. If you're receiving the items in partial quantities, you can update the entered quantity field accordingly. Once done, click OK to confirm. You will now see the line added to your GRN. If needed, you can make further adjustments, either by navigating to the Line tab or by using the composite view for direct editing. Click on the line hyperlink to open the line in single record view. This allows you to review the details more closely and make any necessary changes. You can update the entered quantity field. If you've received the item with different attributes than those defined in the purchase order, you can update those attributes here as well. Once all the details are reviewed and confirmed, navigate back to the header and click on the Complete Document Action button in the header panel. Confirm by selecting OK. After the Goods Receipt Note (GRN) is successfully recorded in the system, you are now ready to proceed with the creation of the AP invoice. To add an AP invoice into the system, you can either search for AP invoice using the menu search utility, or navigate manually by going to Financial Management, then Accounts Payable module. Here we will get AP invoice. Click on AP invoice to open the screen. Once opened, you'll land on the AP invoice landing page, where you can use the available mosaics for filtering, analyzing, and managing your records. To create a new invoice, simply click on the New Record mosaic. This will open the AP invoice screen in single record view, allowing you to begin entering the necessary details for the new invoice. If you have a scanned copy of the invoice received from the vendor, you can attach it directly using the DMS panel. This is useful for maintaining records and documentation. For now, we will skip this step. However, for a more detailed understanding of the AP invoice screen and its functionality, you can refer to the dedicated session on AP invoices. Now, let's proceed with creating the invoice. Begin by entering the vendor invoice reference. For example, let's use AP 100027. This is the document number received from the vendor. Next, set the date invoiced, 3rd of July, 2025. The account date, which indicates the posting date, will automatically update based on the invoiced date. Then, select the vendor against whom the invoice is being created. Once selected, all relevant vendor configuration details will auto-populate. Make sure to select the same payment term that was used on the original purchase order. If the payment term does not match, the system will not allow you to link the order. Once done, simply save the header to proceed. Now click on Create Line to begin adding the invoice line. From here, you can select the purchase order that you previously created. Once selected, click OK, and the line will be added automatically. If there are any changes required, such as adjustments to the price or quantity, you can make those updates here before proceeding. After verifying all details, including the quantity, click on the Complete Document Action button in the header panel and confirm by clicking OK. Your AP invoice is now successfully recorded in the system. This concludes the advanced payment purchase order process in Onfinity. You can now try executing this process on your own. Thank you for joining this session. With a clear understanding of how advanced payment terms are managed in Onfinity, you are now equipped to confidently handle high-value procurement scenarios using the system.